Patrick? What's up, Joey? Oh, get that out of here.
Dang, Johnny. Dang.
Rejected. Ladies and gentlemen, it is Overreaction Monday here at Debate Amongst Friends. I am the Professor John Guy, the King of RNG, the Troll Master, the Data Analyzing Ninja, the Conqueror of my own fate, Professor Omega, the Cleaner, and the wise man of your reigning, defending, undisputed podcasting world champion and the former reigning, defending, undisputed world heavyweight champion, the tribal beast, the Sultan of Squat. Fortunately, not the head of the table this week, but he will be next week.
Wow.
The Pied Piper of podcasting, the sanitizer, Doc Lees. Man, what a weekend, bro.
Yeah, man. Feeling good. How you doing?
You know, I was able to take a nap during the Royal Rumble, and I'm kind of happy I did.
I
But
mean,
those,
it was
those
a rumble. It
games
just
though,
wasn't royal.
those games though on Sunday, whoo,
Well, it kind of goes like I said. I knew the first game would be a
epic.
good one. Yeah, the second one, I kind of knew it was going to just be another NFC West game. I was hoping not to see it, which is why I wanted the Bucks to win just so badly. Um, but we got the Rams, we got the Bengals. They going to the Super Bowl. They got Jamar Chase, they got OBJ, they got Matthew Stafford, they got Joe Burrow. But let's get to it, man. We got some coaching news first before we
Mm-hmm.
jump into that. Well, we just clear some house ruling. So I
Yes, as Doc was talking about, we do have some coaching news. Chris decided he
news,
wanted to get
Chris.
him with
Come
the
on, Chris.
troll. But Doc, what are
That's
the coaching
trolling
news?
Sunday. I wanted to talk about this. So apparently, the Chicago Bears, as you well know, hired Ryan Poles on the 25th of January, and I heard that he immediately hired Colts defensive coordinator, obviously Matt Eberflus, as a head coach. Apparently, apparently, Ryan Poles went rogue
Rogue
as
agent
the
detected?
yes, as the management team did not really want to hire Eberflus just yet. I think they wanted to interview possibly some more candidates, or maybe they just had a different candidate in mind. But Mr. Pohl said, "Nope, I want Eberflus. He's my guy. That's who I'm bringing in.
You
You
know?
guys could suck it."
Sometimes you just gotta take those chances. No risk it, no biscuit, right?
True. Now, as I said before, sometimes when GMs make these hires, they're stuck with it, and the tenure of that head coach oftentimes becomes the tenure of that general manager. So I'm interested to see how that goes. In other regions here, the New York Football Giants, after hiring the Joe Show as the general manager last week, they tabbed their new head coach, Bills offensive coordinator Brian Daboll. Um, I mean, I don't know. I mean, we're gonna have to wait and see. Bills' offense has been explosive. They look kind of crazy at times, but
Mm-hmm.
we actually mentioned it last week, ironically, that you know the pieces that the Giants have on offense, starting the quarterback position, is pretty similar to what the Bills had, and we even went as far as to say the quarterback kind of showed, you know, some tendencies to what the Bills were offering. Not completely. I think we mentioned that. Are you are you giving me a look? We did talk about that, don't you recall?
Oh, I recalled. I'm just listening to you telling the people out there that you're comparing
The
Daniel
Giants to the
Jones
Bills.
to Josh Allen and almost calling them the same quarterback.
You see, I didn't mention their names. I was hoping that people would kind of
Mm-mm.
gloss over the fact that I was trying to say that. But yeah, I mean, we haven't seen Daniel Jones have the opportunity to run the football on a designed keep. I mean, obviously we've seen him run 60 yards and then trip and fall, but that's all people want to talk about. We haven't seen, Daniel Jones get some QB sweeps. You know what I'm saying? Because obviously he has some wheels. But I think in the right system, which he hasn't had yet, obviously, playing under pretty much two coaching tenures that just weren't just they just failed them. And we've seen many quarterbacks get
Well, don't forget, he
pigeonholed
also
or
had the
derailed,
clapper too.
and that just did not work whatsoever because they didn't have the run game. I think the Clapper, it depends heavily on the run, and Barkley being out didn't help. It just didn't work. But when you look at the Bills, they didn't really they focused on a balanced attack. They didn't really focus on, just one side of the attack. It was pretty balanced. And then you throw in, um, you know, quarterback sweeps and, come on.
QB draws and
Yeah,
making
like you
your
throw in those
quarterback
things.
take more carries than your running back core.
Right, right. But lastly, Johnny here, the last coaching hire, the one that was just a shocker to me. I never thought in a million years, because I just said this last week, and maybe he must have heard the show and was like,
I'm telling you, man, people listen to this show and they just make
"Doc don't
moves
know
in
me.
spite of us.
Doc don't know me. Who do you think he is? Red Fox? Who? He must be Richard Pryor." Josh McDaniels, former Patriots offensive coordinator, hired as the new Las Vegas Raiders head coach. I will say this: the Raiders must have listened to the show, because a few weeks ago, I did say that the Raiders needed a younger head coach,
You did.
somebody that was going to bring energy, somebody that would change the culture. I think Josh McDaniels is a good candidate. That means Derek Carr may be safe for another year or two,
I think so.
because you look at that offense. You got Waller, you got Zay Jones, you got Josh Jacobs. If they decide to keep Jackson, I was gonna
Which
say
I
Deshaun
mean,
Johnson. That's
it
crazy.
maybe,
This is Deshaun Johnson, yeah. But
maybe.
I mean, that's a good offense. And third and Renfro, which is a
Hmm.
perfect New England receiver, right? Slot guy, real Wes Welker esque, real Cooper Cup esque. Not there yet, but you don't think Renfro can make that jump to Cooper Cup level?
Oh no, I'm just listening to you
Oh,
saying that they're the same player again.
I'm not saying that. I'm not saying. I'm just saying that the trajectory, the trajectory. Like if we were talking about like you didn't really play 2K, but in 2K there's always a high and a low, right? There's hey, this person has the potential to be, Scottie Pippen, or they could be Darvis Ham. You know what I mean? Darvin Ham, right? Like there's always, two different sides. So yes, this person has a potential. Zay Jones has the potential to be great. He's humble. He's hungry.
Hmm.
Um,
I
he's a
like
good
Zay
route
Jones.
runner. Yeah, he catches well. Darren Waller obviously good. Josh
He'd be
Jacobs
he'd be
obviously
great
good.
with the Bucks.
We're not going there. We're not going there. This is not about the Buccaneers. But since you mentioned that, that would be the last thing really, before getting to the
Don't you love
playoffs.
my segues?
No, that was absolutely fantastic. As the news, whether they were fake, whether they were real, whatever the case may be,
It was as we keep saying year after year after year. It's usually the NBA. So I'm kind of surprised with the NFL.
Tom Brady, quote unquote, retiring. Oh wait, nope, he's not retiring. Oh wait, his dad said
Yeah,
he's not retiring.
this was another example of wanting to be first instead
Yes,
of
and
being
not right.
correct.
Yeah. Sending a lot of people into frenzies. People text me immediately. I teared a little bit, then I wiped my tear, and then I smiled a little bit. and then I took a shot, and then I said, okay, I can't do this anymore, Tom. I can't do this. I think when I saw the post, I was like, no, Tom, no, kind of thing. But I think as a Bucks fan, you had to realize that this was always going to be a 2 to 4 year deal.
Of course.
Me, one it could have been one and done. He could have just got his seventh championship and called it quits. But going out the way he did, like I said, that was one of the best Bucks games I've ever seen in 21 years.
And that's not
Uh,
even counting last year's Super Bowl, by the way.
exactly. That was top five. What we did in the previous Super Bowl is definitely, a great run. What we did in the first Super Bowl, but yeah, this was one of the greatest comebacks I had ever seen the Bucks do. Like I think that alone, kind of sets up the team to succeed if Tom does step down. And I can understand why, you know, um, the organization would stick with the quarterbacks that are on the roster. It's low cap, right? Trask and
Blaine Gabbert.
Gabbert. Yeah, I think that that's two good quarterbacks that aren't going to win you obviously 12 games, but enough to get you that possibly 9 to 10 games, win the division, and kind of get to the playoffs via wild card, which we were in the wild card anyway.
Yep.
Um, but yeah, I think, and we'll go ahead and segue to the playoffs. I think the emotion that we saw in both games just signify how hard it is to lose when you're this close to going
Mm-hmm.
to the Super Bowl, a game or two from going to the Super Bowl, and then thinking to yourself, "Hey, I've got to go back and start this all over again."
Yep.
And Tom Brady, Gronk, some of the older players is like, do I really want to go through OTAs, training camp, mini camp, rookies, contract signings? So it's a lot on a player. But speaking of those heartbreaks, obviously we had the AFC Championship game.
Wait, Rich, by the way,
Uh,
before we back into it, though, I want to give a big shout out to my tribal beast as he went 2-0 this weekend. Great job, man.
regrettably, 2-0. I would have rather went 1-1. Because I just didn't. I don't like the Rams. I mean, I only picked the Rams
Again,
because of the media. The
again,
media.
I already said what I said about that second game before it actually happened. And it turned
Well,
out
the
I tend to be right quite often when it comes to that division.
well, the media really is what screwed. The media screwed the 49ers, and then Jimmy G screwed the 49ers. But
Okay,
we'll
I was
get there.
like, yeah, I feel like it's
We'll
more
get
Jimmy
there.
G, unfortunately.
We'll get there. We'll get there. Let's
We'll
talk
get there.
about this. You got the Chiefs. We got the Bengals. Chiefs came out hot. I mean, like I told you via text, I was out shopping with the missus. I heard that Patrick Mahomes was on fire, fuego, caliente, very
Yep.
hot start. But then the Bengals started to kind of clamp in. They started to I guess, latch on. Like,
Hmm.
hey, I don't know who you think we are, but did you know that this kitty goes meow?
Doc, what is it that I kept telling you all year about the Cincinnati Bengals? I said this and I've
Second
been
half team.
consistent about it.
Second half
Second
team.
half team.
Second half team.
Do you know? Because I was
Do I know?
watching this and I
Yep.
was getting in Twitter to see what, a lot of the analysts and, of course, the trolls and whatnot are saying. People are saying that this game is over already. This game needs to be turned off. I'm turning off the
Mm.
game right now and all this
I've
other
been there.
stuff.
I've been there. I've been there,
Heck,
right?
even Tony Romo, and I think he had to like apologize once the Bengals made it a game again, because I believe it was during the second catch. No, it was first catch of the game, the first TD catch of the game to Tyreek Hill when he went into the tunnel afterwards, and he was
Okay,
like,
which is
and
too much.
someone threw out some random stat about the Chiefs, and he was like, "Well, I guess we could all go home now." And then
It
like
probably
later
was that
on,
the Chiefs are some stupid record when they score first or something like that.
yep,
I didn't even get a chance to watch the game, and I'm pretty
I
sure
it,
that's
it was
probably
so
what it
bad that
was.
I don't even want to remember it.
Yeah, yeah.
But
But continue.
the Bengals kept it close. It was what,
Mhm.
21-10 at halftime, and I'm like,
Mhm.
it's only a
Mhm.
one score game, folks. Like,
Yeah, relax. RELAX.
yes. I'm like, relax. Third
Chill.
quarter, the Bengals defense showed up.
I mean, honestly, when you think about it, though, like, all right, let's go through the tail of the tape here, right?
Okay.
First quarter, and I think we talked about the tail, like the defenses for both teams aren't like they weren't elite,
Nope.
right? I think they both were in the bottom 15 of the league. I think the Bengals are like 18, and the Chiefs are like 27 or something crazy like that. And I said that we challenged Eli Apple last week.
Yep. Well, I
Um,
mean, he still
we
got challenged. He got burned a couple of times, but
Oh, of course. I mean, it's Eli Apple. I mean, we're still not giving him no passes, but he's finally playing up to the potential that at least New York wanted him to play. They just unfortunately took him going to another team to play a little better.
he had to go
Um,
to a few teams.
I don't remember. Oh, was he on the Saints? I think he played on the
He was on the
Saints.
Saints.
Yeah, even for the Saints, he played better. He played. Let's just say this: he played better everywhere else but the Giants.
Yikes.
But ultimately, you know, the Chiefs, and I don't know if this
Oh,
was
and
a
he
matter
played
of
in Carolina.
I don't remember that one. That
He
must have
played
been
in
short
Carolina
lived.
last year.
I don't remember
Not
that one.
last year,
That
2 years
must
ago. Sorry.
okay, yeah, that might have been short lived. Um, but when you look at the Kansas City game, I think their lack of I think all year their lack of being able to really run the ball outside of Patrick Mahomes in
Nope.
some of those
Nope.
games.
That's not an
Um,
excuse. That's not
it's
an
not an
excuse this time
excuse,
because
but
Jarrett
I'm not talking about
McKinnon
the
ran for
excuses
65
though.
yards on 12 carries. He
Yeah,
was
yeah, but is that enough to put the game away? You're up 10 or 11. That's not enough to put the game away. I mean,
well. I
Derek
didn't say
McKinnon.
that they kept running the ball in the second half.
And that's what I'm saying. I think
Yes.
The Chiefs have to they kind of got into this point where they're such a pass heavy team that when they're up, they don't know how to dial it back. Like that's what made the Bucks, the Rams, the Packers, some of the 49ers, some of the other teams so good in the playoffs is that if they're up, they at least have that ability to run the football, 8, 10 times straight, getting a couple first downs where the Chiefs just don't have that ability just yet or that play calling just yet to where when they're up two scores, they're able to just run the ball. I mean, Patrick Mahomes, they were up mostly all game. He threw 40 times. 40 times.
I mean,
Come on. You're
you
up.
live, you live by the three, you die by the three. You
That's what
live
they
by the
say.
pass, you
You
die by that
die
pass.
by the pass. But the real story here, I mean, we got to talk about Joe Burrow, right?
Well, real
Obviously,
quickly, just to let you
go
know,
ahead.
Jerry McKinnon had like 17 yards rushing in the second half.
I believe it. I mean, he only had 12 carries for 65 yards. So, I mean, again, 12 carries is not enough. Even if you count the eight, not the eight, the six from Clyde Edwards-Helaire, that's 18 rushes, bro. Like 18 rushes
18
between
rushes
two.
for
That's
101 yards.
that's not enough for a team that's up most of the game. You're winning. They should have been in the 20 to 25 to
The
25 to
the
30 range.
21-3 memes were out there.
I don't know if it's that bad because it was never. I mean, because they had 10. I mean, I think it was 24. Was it 24-10 or 21-10 or something like
It
that?
was 21-10 at half.
Yeah,
And the
that's not
Chiefs
the
didn't
same.
score until the last
The,
field
the
goal
last,
to send it into overtime. So they pretty much
I
got
don't,
shut out in the second half.
I don't think that's right. Now, what the Rams and the Bucks did, that was definitely 28-3 memes all the way. But this one, that's a little different. I just think people just wanted to throw that out there for the clicks. They just want to be popular in the in crowd. But we really need to talk about Joe Burrow. Um, I mean, obviously, this franchise, went out. They had a plan. They said, "Hey, Joe is our guy,
Hmm.
clear cut number one." Obviously, we talk about Justin Herbert and him always being connected. So honestly, I expect Justin Herbert now to have an amazing season next year and lead the Chargers at least to the AFC Championship game. I said it here first.
Ooh, I'm
Um,
gonna make
yeah,
that as a
yeah,
note,
yeah,
folks.
yeah. I expect Joe Burrow. I expect Joe Burrow and
Justin Herbert to
Justin
meet
Herbert
in the
to
playoffs next
meet
year.
in the playoffs next year.
I
I
like that.
expect that to happen. I expect that to happen.
Okay.
And then Mahomes will be, he'll be playing against somebody else. But Joe Burrow obviously got hurt last year, but the Bengals stuck to the plan, right? They had Joe Mixon. They went out this season. They drafted Jamar Chase. They drafted T. Higgins a couple years ago. They had Tyler Boyd, so they had the weapons, and we definitely want to pray also for
And
C.J. Uzuma,
yes, because he
who
went
got
down.
carted
That was
off.
just. I didn't
Mhm.
know if you had a chance to look at the play that happened to him. That was rough.
Can I be honest with you? I don't know what happened to him, but I will say that now I'm really hypersensitive every time somebody gets tackled.
Yes.
I feel like all of their legs are going the wrong way, and I don't want to see it. Like, oh my God, like that's me now. Every time somebody gets tackled, and I don't know what made me get like that. I don't know if it was Dak's injury. I don't know if it was Alex Smith's injury, but it's like whenever I see somebody get tackled, I just be like, oh my God, their leg snapped, and then they get up and they run away, and I'm like, oh, thank God, But
Also,
you
big
know,
shout outs to the Bengals front office for emphasizing on defense as well too in the offseason.
oh yeah, because the defense is amazing. Even though they lost a couple players via injury, um, I've always loved Sam Hubbard. Von
Hmm.
Bell is an amazing player. Trey Hendrickson, amazing player. Some of these guys just really stepped up, and even somebody like DJ Reader, those tackles, so the BJ Hill, those interior run stuffers
Yep.
that apparently the Chiefs have a hard time with. But I mean, it wasn't even a matter of anything. When you look at the sacks, I mean, they got to Mahomes about 4 or 5 times. And honestly, the Chiefs just didn't play up to the level that would get them back to the Super Bowl. The Bengals played up to that level.
Oh, agreed.
That's just it. Joe Burrow, I mean, like you said, shout out to the Bengals front office. They really put together a great team. And they ran the freaking football 21 carries. And this is for a team that was down
Yep.
21 carries for 88 yards, right? A team that
Well,
was
again,
down.
they believed in Joe Mixon, and to be fair, the Chiefs' run defense isn't that good. It's kind of
But it
what
doesn't
Doc alluded to at the beginning of this of this section of the episode.
but it don't matter though, because even if a team's not good, once you go down, sometimes those run plays go out of the window and you start trying to pass to come back.
No, there was plenty of time. There was plenty. They had an entire half. They brought it down to being just 10 to 21. So it wasn't like, it was 35 to 3 type of game heading into halftime. Although people were acting
Mhm.
like it was. They didn't have to abandon the run. They didn't have to play to the Chiefs' strengths, which is to try to have a shootout.
Right, right. But nonetheless, AFC champions are the Cincinnati Bengals, 27-24.
Goes
Um, Here he
meow.
goes meow. Next up, of course, we have the NFC Championship game, the NFC West, pretty much championship game again.
Yeah.
The San Francisco 49ers headed to LA. The two big stories that I kept hearing, nothing more than this, was number one, obviously, that the coach, right? Oh, hey, is this coach in your head? Remember this the bad media, storm
Yeah.
questions we talked about last week. And then the other part was, 49er fans not being able to buy tickets to the game.
Oh, they were able to buy tickets because they were there. It was a
Right.
sea of red.
that was the other major thing. Oh, 49er fans aren't able to buy tickets, and here they are filling up the stands. But this game was interesting. I think it pretty much was exactly what we said it was going to be. Um, not Sam Donald. Oh God,
Yikes.
Matthew Stafford.
Yikes.
I'm sorry. Matthew Stafford was exactly who we kind of thought he would be. Held onto the ball a little bit too long in certain plays, took a few hits, um, you know, did what he had to do. Um, yeah, did what he had to do. But I mean, ultimately, the Rams won this game. Well, ultimately, the
The
49ers lost this
49ers
game.
lost this game. This is
I'm not
the
100%
Niners
sure.
had this all under control until the fourth quarter.
And honestly, I think they went away from their game plan as well, similar to, um, similar to what we said about the Chiefs. The 49ers got here based on running the ball with their running backs and with Debo. And I just feel like they went away from that. Um, I don't think that the Rams, and we'll get to the preview show, but the Rams didn't have a great game running the ball, but obviously Cooper Cup and Odell just absolutely wrecked the 49ers secondary. There was a lot of blown coverages, and there was a lot of coverages that just didn't work.
Yep.
Um, I did see some drops from Cooper Cup, as well as one of the tight ends, I believe it was. But other than that, passing wise, they really look great out there. But I'm curious to see how they're going to match up against the Bengals and what happens to the 49ers after this. Is Jimmy G the future? Obviously, we know Debo's going to be there. Brandon Ayuk
Like I feel
had a
bad
good
for
game.
Diva though. He did everything.
Everything, yeah, everything he could. But I mean, there's really nothing else to say because this is just another NFC West game. I think
Yeah.
we've said it two times already. This game's always going to be close. I think you said it yourself. It's going to be, close, and they wound up being close. The interception at the end was just horrendous, and even though it was 3rd and 18, and you didn't want to have a 4th and 18, you live to play just one more down, and go out. You never know what might happen.
You never know what might happen.
You seen what
Last game of
happened
this
with Minnesota.
potentially last game of
Either
the season. Can't hold anything
and,
back.
and listen, you see what happened with Minnesota and New Orleans that one year, right? So you just never know what could happen. Yeah, exactly. A whiff. But Johnny, I know the people heard this podcast on their favorite podcast platform. But if they didn't, they can always go to our website at www.debateamongstfriends.com to review this episode as well as all the previous. Be sure to tune in tomorrow as we go over more news, more analysis, and the reads.